This is Dave Knows MMA.
It's been 1 year and 4 months since Carlos Condit last stepped in the octagon. In that bout, he took on the very dangerous Demian Maia, whom at the time was riding a 5-fight win streak. That one finished pretty quickly when the natural-born killer got into a grappling exchange and ended up being on the receiving end of a rear naked choke that caused a halt to the fight in the very first round. Before that, Condit made the walk for a shot at the welterweight championship versus Robbie Lawler. A bout that was a Fight of the Year candidate in 2016, and just the kind of war you'd expect to see when you lock those two inside the cage together. So much happens at such a rapid pace in this game, it's really easy to forget a lot of details when looking back. Such as the fact that many thought that Condit should have gotten the nod against Lawler, and with that, became the welterweight world champion. I wouldn't call it a robbery by any means, but it was most certainly a very close decision and one that could have went either way. But the point is, it didn't. And this Saturday, Carlos Condit is stepping in there and risking the possibility of having not won a fight in 2 full years, which is something that has never happened to him in his 15-year-long professional fighting career. This contest is going to be unlike anything he's ever done before because it's the first time back after taking a breather from MMA, which I have to imagine was greatly needed. Given that after the Robbie Lawler fight, the talks of retirement started coming from the man himself. At the post-fight press conference, Condit said that it might just be his last one and that after 40 professional MMA and kickboxing fights that he's going to need to step back and assess if he can continue to do this. 7 months later, he stepped in against Maia, and a minute and 52 seconds after that, he was handed his second loss in a row, and that was the last we've heard of him. Until now. At UFC 219, Carlos Condit takes on the ultra-talented Neil Magny at the end of the year fight card, which is fitting because the UFC always likes to end off the calendar year with a bang, and if fireworks is what they're needing, Carlos Condit is the fighter they're going to make sure is on that card. It's always hard to try to speculate how a fighter will perform after such a long layoff like this. There are a lot of variables to take into consideration. You have to wonder if ring rust will be a factor or if they're coming back for the right reasons and so on. But knowing Condit, his style, and how experienced he is, I expect when he steps in there on Saturday, it'll be as though he never took a break at all. Condit is a bona fide veteran of this sport. It's not just about how many times he has fought, it's about who he has fought. And he's been fighting the elite welterweight talent since the early days. What's crazy about Condit's career is not just that he's fought Martin Kampmann, Jake Shields, Jake Ellenberger, Rory McDonald, Dan Hardy, Nick Diaz, Johnny Hendricks, Robbie Lawler, and George St. Pierre. It's that before he ever had any of those fights, he was a finalist on the Rumble on the Rock welterweight tournament, which had names like Frank Trigg, Yushin Okami, Anderson Silva, and Jake Shields in it. As mentioned earlier, this game has so much happening in such a short period of time, it's really easy to forget details when it comes to the history of the sport. But Carlos Condit, though not a spring chicken, is a legend of the sport at just 33 years of age, and despite coming off 2 losses, I have no reason to think that his skill set or durability is diminished at all. If anything, I feel like the layoff from fighting was just what he needed to get motivated to step in there again. It's all of these factors combined that has me uber excited for the return of Carlos Condit.